at us.
Everybody's you.
They're gonna hate it. Here's what happened. So how does that feel to be working again? Like riding a bicycle. Oh,
I'm glad to hear that.
I mean, it's terrifying.
So this show has always been something that I've been a fan of. It's one of those things that it's a comfort show. I love watching it. It just makes you feel good. And when it went off the air, it felt like there was a hole missing. And now having these characters come back, for me, it was just like revisiting old friends. Tony, what was it like for you slipping the suit back on?
It was great. It was strange in a way because it had been so many years. But the script was so good. The idea was so compelling. The fact that we've all gone through the pandemic and
Did you hear him say the script was so good? Did you?
I heard that. I did.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. We have it on tape.
I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, I mean, it was so great to be in the room with all my fellow actors, and everybody was into it. Everybody was excited. You know, nobody was doing it just, as a job. People were invested and all bringing their A game and wanting it to be great.
And Andy, despite the title, which, I hear the title and it's, Last Case, but then it's a Monk movie. And by this point, everybody's seen it. And, at once it feels like a reunion. It kind of feels like a revival. Is this the first of an ongoing new Monk series of movies? Matlock did it, Columbo did it, all the greats, Perry Mason. Is that maybe where we're headed now?
You're right. It's not unprecedented. I did leave the door open slightly at the end of this intentionally, and we'll see. It's it's up to our fans now, and it's up to the network. And so far, the response has been pretty encouraging.
And something I noticed at the very beginning, you've got that flashback to the very first case, and Tony, you look exactly the same. How is it that you're the only one that didn't age in the entire cast?
Please, your eyesight is failing you.
No, but the character, the foibles, the little mannerisms, all of those things, is that something that when you put the suit on that you just know how to be Adrian Monk, or is there something that you've got to kind of channel to make that happen?
Well, the first, you mentioned that first scene, which is now 20 some years ago.
Oh,
right? And that, I think, Tony, I think you might want to speak to this. I think if you go back to that was the first scene we ever shot, right? That was
first scene of the first day.
First scene of the first day was Dean Parisel directing, and I think it did take you a moment or two to get comfortable, to find Monk.
It took probably 3 or 4 seasons, actually.
Yeah,
I was just sort of like flailing before that.
Well, we went back and reshot seasons 1 through 4. But that first day, it was
a lot of discovery made that first day. Let's just say that. That whole first episode.
And
really.
Standing off camera, it was so exciting, and to watch Tony finding who this guy is, and zeroing in on this guy.
And what I found interesting about the series is that while you had these standalone mysteries, each episode is kind of that self-contained story for the most part, but you've got this overall narrative arc that spans the whole thing. But this movie feels like it has there's more of an emotional center to it compared to the series. Just, it's such a more of a Monk story versus a Monk case. Did the weight of the material, Andy, when you were writing it, did it feel like this was a heavier story?
It's a good question. We wanted, as Tony and our producing partners, Randy Zesk and David Hoberman, have said, we didn't want this to be just another episode. We wanted it to feel, weightier and urgent, and to justify doing it. And so we did raise the stakes, for Monk emotionally, and we put him in that place at the top of this movie.
Yeah, unlike our other episode, we wanted to make this a familiar and recognizable world again, but we wanted to make it different enough to justify bringing it back after all those years. And I even remember a conversation we were having in the early going when we're in the script stage now. The network, I think, was initially a bit concerned that not a lot was happening in the first, say, 15, 20 minutes. The way it used to on all our episodes, there was a murder right away or within the first 5 minutes, certainly.
Yeah.
And then, then the whole thing gets put in motion. But in this script, in this story, we're telling a lot of, we're catching up with characters. We're finding a little backstory, what's gone on in the last 14 years.
Yeah, it was paced differently.
It was paced differently, but we really trusted that was the right way to go. We didn't feel, we wanted to be true to our series, but we didn't feel locked into the formula of our episodes, our 8 years of episodes. So I think it was a good idea to do a bit of a gear shift there. And the actual murder, the killing, comes much later, into the story. But we needed that to happen because we needed to love that victim. We needed to know who he was, to see how he's connected to Monk and his people, and we want to feel that as not just a stranger who gets bumped off, but as a family member that a terribly tragic thing happens to.
And you did it. And I, on behalf of all the fans, thank you so much. It's a great movie. I hope it's the first of many. And thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for your kind words.